If I listened to you guys, there's no plant we'd ever grow in our garden. Why? Because I've asked you the most overrated plants to grow. We have our own opinions. And the list, it's a laundry list of some of the most popular vegetables on the planet. So what we're doing in today's video, I brought Jacques in the garden.
I'm here to disagree, maybe agree.
We'll have a little spirited debate. But what we've done is we've cherry-picked some of the most controversial ones that I saw in the comments. I'm gonna react to them right now and see if we agree. First up, we have Dottie D. She says, for me, it's kale. Not because it's a bad vegetable, but cabbage whites and other butterflies think it's delicious. I grow my vegetables in planters as I'm in a small boat. Oh. So it's a bit too much hassle to keep the kale netted up. What do you think, Jacques? You're a brassica guy.
I'm a big brassica guy. I'm a big kale eater, but I could sympathize with the issue that she's having.
100%.
Like, having those aphids, those cabbage loopers, everything like that, and dealing with netting on a boat, I could get it.
Look, if I'm on a small boat netting up some kale, I might decide that maybe, you know, the local grocer has my back.
Yeah.
I'll just say that much.
Yeah, sometimes you choose your battles, and maybe that's one where you just go to the store and you just pick it up there.
If I was on a small boat, I mean, what are you growing? I'm doing some patio tomatoes. I'm doing some small stuff, some easy stuff.
Yeah, I think, honest, tomatoes and peppers and like a little herb garden.
Herb garden, yeah. So Dottie D, we're both gonna be growing kale for the foreseeable future, but we do understand your plight. Next up, we have Trish C. She says, beets. I've tried to grow them over and over and over and end up with puny, stringy roots that stain everything. I used to hate beets.
Yeah.
Just growing up, it wasn't something that I ate, but ever since we did the lazy man beet method here, where we basically threw a packet of beets on the ground and took a rake and raked them into the ground and had incredible beets, I've kind of been a convert, especially golden beets.
I'll say this also, if you're having like an extremely weirdly difficult time with growing beets, then you might be like just that tiny slice of percent of people who don't have like, I think it's boron in your soil. If you don't have like boron, apparently beets won't grow. So maybe it's not even you, but you know, it's probably a rare thing, and we're always gonna grow beets, and I think it just takes a little bit longer than most people expect. And that's another surprise.
That's the thing about beets, because I'll tell you this, the days to maturity that's typically reported on the seed pack, maybe my beets are in their pubescent phase for longer than average or something, because mine take a lot longer than that, it seems like. And maybe it's just time of year. I'm planting them at a time where I could stretch that out a little bit. So for me, I actually kind of sympathize, because I don't really want to grow red beets that much, but I will grow golden beets, specifically Golden Boy, which is actually my name as a child.
And I'm here to grow all beets all the time. I love them every single way.
Well, you're Bulgarian.
I mean, yeah, it's just in that Eastern European genetics. You can't not like beets.
Exactly. Next up, we have one from Katie Weekland, who says, ground cherries, they were productive, but I didn't love the flavor, and I didn't know what to do with them. You agree?
I agree on that one.
You agree?
They're not for me. I've grown them 2 years now. Let's just say somebody at home does like them. That's why I keep growing them.
Okay.
But to me, they taste like a tomato that's had a really bad day. It's like a tomato that has that like slight savoriness, but way too much sweetness and nothing in between. I'm full out.
You know what? You know, and honestly, I'm full out too. It's a cool plant, botanically very interesting plant. You get that sort of lanterny, papery skin around them.
It does look cool.
Very beautiful. But I don't know, there's some sort of weird mixture of like sweetness but umami-ness to it.
Exactly.
That I'm just like, pick one, right? Just be one of those two things instead of both. So I'm kind of with you on the ground cherries. Next one is from Allison. I have a feeling we're gonna disagree here, Jacques. Sunchokes. I was so excited to grow them, and they are so prolific and beautiful, but the taste is just blah. So now I have 8,000 pounds of sunchokes no one wants to eat except the gophers. You love them though.
I've come to really appreciate them. So here's the thing. I've had them baked or like roasted, and the texture is just not pleasant. Like there's a little bit of flavor, but it's just not doing anything for me. But this year, I cut them thin and fried them up in like a little bit of oil, tossed in some rosemary, a little bit of lemon peel and salt. And man, I gotta say, they were better than potato chips. And I love potatoes.
So here's what I'll say.
That's my take.
You love potatoes, but I adore them, right? I'm on a different level with potatoes. I grew the sunchokes, and there's a reason they're called Jerusalem artichokes. They're called fartichokes. There is a reason they're called the fartichokes. I'll be honest, man. I had literally one, and let's just say it wasn't pleasant for anyone around me, right? It was that level of severity, and I did have some of your chips. The chips were tasty, but I certainly don't think they were better than potato chips for me. Just wasn't on the level for me. Now, the one thing I'll say, that sunchoke saving grace, it's almost impossible to fail at growing them.
That's true.
You can't mess them up. So if you want something easy, go for the sunchoke. Next one up is from Steve, who says, hot peppers. I like spicy, but who eats literally dozens of chilies in Anaheims? It sounds cool to grow the hottest pepper, but it's impractical to eat.
Here's the thing. Some people can't take it. Can't take the heat, don't grow the pepper. But I agree. When you get up to that super hot, when anything over habanero, I don't get the point. Like, you're just using a sliver to season something. At that point, just put 2 habaneros in instead of a tiny chunk of some ghost pepper.
Yeah. Well,
That's my take.
I respect the take, and look, I'm not a spice guy myself, although I will say, on the Epic Homesteading channel, we did a spooky, spicy Halloween questionnaire episode where we actually ate some of the hottest peppers in the world.
It was worth it for that.
And we discovered not only that some of the ones that were supposed to be hot weren't as hot as we thought, but also I honestly think I handled my heat a little bit better than you in that episode.
Honestly, I was surprised. He was obviously eating smaller pieces. Let's just say that. There's video evidence. I don't know if it shows that, but I'm going to just assume that's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was impressive. And some of them, I got wrecked by a Serrano. I don't know what that Serrano had. It was some
Something went
cross
wrong.
genetic, but
Here's
I got
the thing.
knocked out.
I think I certainly respect Steve's take here.
Yeah.
If you're not going to eat them and you're not going to make them into something that's usable and that's your primary goal for gardening, don't grow them.
Yeah.
It makes total sense. For me, something about the super hots is very attractive, just in the act of the grow.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep them. And actually, I have a couple friends around in my life now that can handle them, so I kind of pawn them off, and I feel like I didn't waste any time. One from Pete Newell. He says, Cucamelon, waste of valuable space. Taste okay, but bitter skins and too small to peel. I grew Yacon, harvested yesterday. The jury's out on that one. Well, I'll tell you this, the jury's in, for me at least, on Cucamelon. Where are you at? Let's give it the old gladiator.
Okay,
3,
count me down.
2, 1. Oh, you're not all the way down.
I'm not all the way.
Okay.
Because here's the thing.
Yeah.
They look adorable.
Yeah.
They have tiny little flowers, tiny little leaves, tiny little cucumbers. You don't have to peel them. You could eat the whole thing.
True.
And I don't know if I ever experienced that bitterness. Maybe it's like through the extreme heat, or if you let it sit too long, it gets more bitter. But they're kind of refreshing. I'm not crazy for them. Like, I'm not going to try to grow it every year. But they were kind of fun. And we pickled a few and they were okay.
What I'll say is I've grown them at a very minimal level.
Yeah.
I want to say it was like 2018 or 2019. The world was ablaze with Cucamelon fever. Everyone was growing Cucamelons. And I think all of us collectively realized they're fun. Certainly nothing wrong with them. And some people absolutely love them. But if you want that sort of flavor profile that it's giving you, there's a lot easier ways to get it.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much that. But if you have like a nice trellis, you can throw Cucamelons up and they just kind of go. So
they look
they're nice.
great, but you know, if you want a cucumber, just grow a cucumber.
This one's from Branch Project. They say, rhubarb, not worth the effort with the amount of space they take up. I wish I could agree or disagree. I've never successfully grown rhubarb. One of my deep shames.
I've grown it successfully for a couple of years now. Here's what I'll say.
Yeah.
It produces, in San Diego, you have to get the right variety. Victoria does really well, if you're wondering. But it does take up like this much space, which, you know, it's not
That much only.
It's not that big.
I've
like
seen-
when they fully leaf out, maybe it's like that. And some are massive. I agree. Some are huge.
Here's why I want to grow it, and it's because of what you just said. I've seen a couple UK growers, like, you know, a small, petite female gardener, right?
Yeah.
Holding a rhubarb leaf, and it looks like something out of an anime or something. Like,
Yeah.
it's twice as big as they
Totally.
are. So I'm like, for that, I want to grow it. But again, it's one of those colder climate lovers. It's difficult. You can't eat the leaves. The leaves are a little bit toxic.
Yeah.
You can't eat the stalks. But a rhubarb pie, homegrown,
It hits different. And I'll tell you what, if you think you need a lot, you don't.
You
just
don't.
keep harvesting the leaves, chopping the stems up, throw them in the freezer. When you have a nice full bag, just make yourself a pie.
if you can grow your own
Wise
pie,
words.
I mean, that's always worth it, my friends. This is from Sandria White. She says, pineapple. I don't think it's overrated because we did get one to harvest and it was delicious. However, we realized it takes up valuable garden space for 18 to 24 months after we planted 16 more of them. That's a dirty surprise. My raised bed is now a dedicated pineapple bed for 2 years. I could have gotten 2 seasons a year for 4 seasons of other vegetables. I'll grow them again, but not that many. This is a textbook case of knowing what you're planting before you put it in, or having the heart to sacrifice.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta walk away.
Yeah.
And it hurts, but it's the thing to do.
If you love it, let it go, right?
Yeah, you've tried it. I
Yeah.
haven't tried it because I read that and I saw that it takes that long. I was like, now I have to keep this thing alive for like 2 years, and the pineapple might be like this big.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's delicious because everything grown at home is way better. But I totally sympathize with the amount of space that it takes for what you're getting.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're talking cost to space, it's certainly not worth the time. You can go hit up the local market and grab a pineapple and have a great time with it. There is something to, again, it comes back to like, what's your primary reason for gardening? For me, of course, food.
Yeah.
But to be frank, like the amount of space that we have here at the homestead now, I can grow well more than I can eat. And so we donate and we give away even. And so now it's like the art of the grow. Can I make this plant work?
The challenges.
It's the challenge. Like, I can't grow vanilla bean yet. I want to try it. I can't grow wasabi yet. I want to try it. So I want to like knock it off my list almost like I'm catching a Pokemon these days. But I totally appreciate it. I mean, 16, that's a bit of overkill.
That's commitment.
Yeah.
That's commitment.
Respect. Next up we have Genie Salt. Broccoli. Drives me nuts that it's all my husband wants. It takes up a ton of space for the yield. It's temperamental and seems to attract pests I never have otherwise. And it's just so cheap and easy to get anywhere but in my tiny garden. You know, what I would say is if that's all your husband wants, seems like a pretty good setup you've got there, Jeannie. I mean, if that's all my significant other wants is just some broccoli, I feel like I'd be pretty well set up for life, don't you think?
Except for the summer.
To me, it seems
Summer might
worth
be
it.
tough.
It seems worth it on that alone. So I might change up my strategy here. But look, we've both struggled to grow broccoli.
Yeah, it's mostly like a timing thing depending on your climate. So it can be hard if you started at the wrong time. Peak summer, all that heat, you're gonna have a bad time.
No broccoli.
But the shoulders, you got the spring and the fall, you could get a ton of broccoli and you could actually plant it tighter than you want. And always, don't forget, when you take that top head, you're gonna get a bunch of side shoots, which are also broccoli. So that is relatively productive for the amount of space that you're giving it, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I actually agree. I used to not agree, mostly because I struggled to grow it. So I was like, why waste space and fail? Like, that's not a good recipe.
Doesn't feel good.
But this year, I've never had as much broccoli as I've had, and we found great ways to harvest it, great ways to use it in the kitchen. For me, I like to cut the head into like the micro florets, throw it sort of naked, not with anything on it, in the oven, broil it, get that char on, and then put some sort of like homemade sort of cream-based sauce on it. To me, that's nice. So I really like it. I'm kind of with Jacques now, and if you really want to get crazy, like you said, you can get the extra sort of offshoots after you harvest the main head.
They're delicious and tender too.
But you can also just use the leaves. And yeah, it's not the most tasty thing, but if you want to do like a vegetable stew, you can throw that in place of anything, cabbage, kale, any of those plants. It's effectively the same exact crop.
That's a great tip, because then you never run out of greens. You have the broccoli and you have greens to use
you got the
whenever
greens.
you're cooking.
Exactly. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I actually think we agreed more than I expected us to.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, we're actually pretty different in our philosophy, I have to say.
It worked out though.
Which is why it's good to have Jacques on the squad. So if you want to mess around with these seeds or any other properly rated seeds, go ahead and request a catalog from Botanical Interest, which is our seed company. And until next time, good luck in the garden and keep on growing.